John Carter didn't mean to walk into the black market. He was just looking for fuel for his small cargo ship. The station was old, rusty, and filled with smoke. Most shops were closed. He turned a corner and saw a glowing red door with alien symbols on it. Loud voices came from inside. He was curious. Maybe they had fuel. He stepped inside and froze. It was not a shop. It was a secret auction. The room was dark, filled with strange people, aliens with sharp teeth, glowing eyes, and shiny armor. The air smelled like oil and something rotten. A stage stood in the center. Bright lights pointed at it. A big alien with 4 arms was shouting in 5 languages, "Tonight's special item." The alien roared, "A rare beauty. Wild, dangerous, but fully trained." 2 guards dragged a cage onto the stage. Inside was a girl, but not a human girl. She had glowing purple skin, sharp silver hair, and bright green eyes. Her body was thin but strong. Chains held her arms and legs. She sat in the corner of the cage, watching everyone like a trapped animal. John's heart jumped. The auctioneer continued, "She's from the lost planet Ikara, last of her kind. Built to serve, trained to please. Start the bidding." People raised their hands. Numbers flashed on a screen. The price went higher and higher. John took a step back. He didn't want to be there. This was wrong. He turned to leave, but his arm moved up by accident. He had scratched his neck. A spotlight hit him. New bidder. The auctioneer shouted, "Human male, a rare buyer." The crowd turned to stare at him. John's face turned red. "No, wait. I didn't. Too late." The alien slammed a button. "Sold to the human." The room went quiet. The girl in the cage looked at John. Her eyes narrowed. She didn't look happy. She looked like she wanted to kill him. 2 guards walked up to John and pushed a small chip into his hand. "Proof of ownership," one said, in a cold voice. "You now own Subject 9X7. Do not break the chain bond. She is dangerous." "I don't want her," John said. "I think this is a mistake." "Too bad," the guard said. "No refunds. She's yours now." The girl growled inside the cage. John's ship was small, made for cargo, not people. He didn't know where to put her. She stood near the door, arms crossed. She was silent, but her eyes followed every move he made. "You can sit," John said. She didn't answer. He placed food on the table. "It's not much, but you can eat." Still nothing. John sat down across from her. "Listen, I didn't mean to buy you. It was an accident." Now she looked at him, sharp like a knife. "Lies," she said softly. "All humans lie." Her voice was cold, quiet, and dangerous. "I'm not like them," John said. "Then set me free." "I can't. The chain bond." She took a step closer. "Break it." "I don't know how." Her fists clenched. For a second, John thought she might hit him. But she didn't. She turned away and sat on the floor, back against the wall. Eyes closed. That night, John locked the ship. Controls. He didn't trust her. Not yet. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. He could hear her breathing in the next room. Soft, slow, like a hunter waiting for the right moment. He closed his eyes. Suddenly, a sound. Footsteps. He opened his eyes. Too late. She stood over him, holding a knife from the kitchen. Her eyes glowed in the dark. "You sleep too deeply," she whispered. John didn't move. "If you're going to kill me, do it." Her hand shook. The knife stopped just an inch from his chest. He didn't fight. He just looked at her. She stared back. Her face changed. She dropped the knife. "I don't understand you," she said, voice cracking for the first time. John sat up slowly. "You're not a slave to me. I don't want to own anyone." She backed away. "Then why did you buy me?" "I didn't. It was a mistake." She sat on the floor again, silent. John watched her for a moment, then stood and picked up the knife. He placed it back in the kitchen and left the door open behind him. he went back to bed. This time, he didn't sleep. The next morning, she was still there, sitting on the same spot. Watching him, he gave her breakfast again. This time, she took it, one small bite, then another. She didn't say thank you, but she didn't try to kill him either. For now, that was enough. The knife was missing again. John noticed it the moment he walked into the kitchen, the biggest kitchen. Knife, the sharp one, gone. No sound, no footsteps. Just silence and shadows. She was here. Somewhere. John didn't move. He didn't call her name. He just stood still and listened. His heart beat slowly. Thump, thump. Then, behind him, a breath, soft, cold, close. He turned. Too late. She jumped. She moved like lightning. Silent, fast, a ghost in the dark. John fell backward as the alien girl pinned him to the floor. Her hand around his throat, the blade shining in her other hand. Her eyes burned bright green. "You locked the door," she said. "I can't leave. You lied," John gasped, struggling to speak. "I was scared." She didn't blink. "Good. Be scared." The knife touched his neck. A drop of blood fell. "Do it," John whispered. "Kill me." Something in her face changed. Her hand stopped shaking. Then she stood up and threw the knife across the room. It hit the wall and stuck. She turned away, breathing hard. "I don't understand you," she said. "I should kill you." "You didn't," John said, still on the floor. "Why?" She didn't answer. Hours passed. Neither of them spoke. John cleaned the cut on his neck. It wasn't deep. Just a warning. She sat in the corner again, knees pulled to her chest, watching. Always watching. That night, John didn't sleep. She didn't either. By the third day, the silence was louder than any words. John worked on the ship controls. He needed fuel. He needed help. But he also needed to figure out how to break the chain bond that linked her to him. It was alien tech, alive, glowing, and locked to his DNA. She sat beside the control room, watching the stars through the window. "You don't belong here," John said. She didn't look at him. "No, I don't. Where are you from?" She was quiet for a moment, then said, "You wouldn't know it. Your kind destroyed it long ago." "My kind? Humans. The great explorers. You take everything. Planets, people." John looked down. "Not all humans." She turned to face him. "Prove it." Later that evening, John placed 2 bowls of food on the table. One for him, one for her. She stared at it. "You think I'm an animal?" she asked. "No," John said. "I think you're hungry." She picked up the spoon, slowly, tasted it. Paused. Then ate in silence. It was the first meal they shared. That night, she didn't try to kill him. Instead, she asked a question. "What's your name?" "John," he said. "John Carter." She repeated it softly. "John." He smiled a little. "Do you have a name?" She looked away. "I was called Subject 9X7. That's not a name." "It's the only one I have." John thought for a moment. "Can I give you one?" She stared at him. "You want to name me like a pet?" "No," John said. "Like a person." She didn't answer. He said, "Nara. It means free one in Old Earth language." She blinked, then slowly nodded. "Nara." She said it again, like she was testing it. It fit. That night, she didn't sit in the corner. She lay on the floor, near the door to his room. Close enough to hear him breathe, far enough to run if needed. John didn't lock the door this time. In the dark, he whispered, "Good night, Nara." No answer. But he thought maybe, just maybe, he saw her smile. Just a little. Nara was crying in her sleep. John didn't mean to hear it. He was just walking by, holding a cup of warm tea. But when he passed her room, he heard soft sounds, like a small animal in pain. He opened the door a little. She was curled up in the corner, her face wet with tears, her hands shaking. She whispered something in her language, words he couldn't understand. Then she screamed out loud. broken, full of fear. John rushed in. "Nara!" She woke up fast, eyes glowing, teeth bared. She grabbed a plate and threw it at him. It missed his head by an inch. "Stay back." She shouted. "It's me," John said. "It's just me. You're safe." She froze. Her chest rose and fell fast. Her hands were shaking. She looked around the room like she didn't know where she was. "You were dreaming," John said softly. "It was just a dream." She looked down. No, it was a memory. Then she stood up and walked out silent again. Later that day, John found her watching a video. It was an old Earth cartoon, a child and a robot flying through space. The child laughed. The robot made silly noises. Nara sat still, eyes locked. On the screen, her face was blank, but her fingers trembled. "Do you like it?" John asked. She didn't turn around. "What's that boy doing?" "He's playing," John said. "Playing? Yeah, having fun. Being free." Nara was quiet. Then she said, "I don't remember how to do that." The next day, John fixed a broken heating pipe near the back of the ship. It was hot, dirty. Work. His shirt was soaked. As he tightened the last bolt, he slipped and sliced his hand on sharp metal. Ah! Damn it! Blood dripped down his wrist. He stood up, holding his hand. When he turned the corner, he found Nara standing there. She didn't speak, just stared at the cut. "It's fine," John said. "Just a scratch." She stepped forward. "Sit," she ordered. "What?" "Sit down." He obeyed. She pulled out a small bottle from her pocket, something from her world. It looked like glowing green gel. Carefully she rubbed it on his hand. It stung at first, then cooled. "Where'd you get this?" John asked. "I keep things," she said. "For protection?" She didn't answer. Instead, she wrapped a cloth around his hand, gently. John looked at her. "You're not what they said you were." She tied the cloth and stood. "Neither are you." That night, Nara didn't sit near the door. She sat at the table, across from John. She didn't eat. "Just watch." Then she asked, "Why do you live alone?" John paused. "I used to have a team, friends. We ran cargo jobs together. What happened?" He looked down. "Pirates. They took the ship. I got out." "They didn't." Nara was quiet. "Sorry," she said after a long pause. It was the first time she said something soft. John smiled, just a little. "Thanks." Later, she came to him with something small in her hand, a broken hair tie. "What is this?" she asked. John laughed. "It's for tying your hair." "Want me to show you?" Nara looked suspicious. "You touch me, I break your arm. Deal." He carefully helped her tie her long silver hair into a loose knot. She looked in the mirror. For a moment, she didn't look like a weapon. She looked like a person. That night before sleep, Nara asked, "Do you think I can be normal?" John looked at her. "You already are." She frowned. "I'm not human. You don't have to be." She thought about that. Then she said, "Good night." "John," he smiled. "Good night, Nara." And for the first time, they both slept peacefully. The alarm screamed through the ship. Red lights flashed. The control screen showed a blinking red dot, moving fast. Incoming ship. No ID, no signal. Just one word flashed in bright red letters. Bounty. John jumped into the pilot's seat. Someone found us. Nara stood behind him, eyes sharp. "They're not here to talk." The enemy ship locked on. A deep voice came through the comms. "Surrender the stolen property. Give us the Ikari female, or die." Nara's fists tightened. "Property," she whispered, full of hate. John didn't wait. He hit the thrusters. The ship roared forward, cutting through empty space like a bullet. "They're faster," Nara said, watching the screen. "Then we have to be smarter," John said. "Get to the lower guns." She was already gone, moving like fire. The bounty ship fired. A blast rocked John's ship. Sparks flew from the walls. Lights flickered. Shields down to 60%. the computer voice said. Nara's voice crackled through the speaker. Permission to return fire? Permission granted, John said. Let him have it. Outside, Nara sat inside the lower gun turret. Her hands moved fast, eyes cold and focused. Green laser fire burst from her cannon, hitting the bounty. Ship's wing. One hit, 2 hits. The enemy ship spun sideways. They're pulling back, John said. Nara didn't stop firing. Save your ammo. John shouted. I'm not wasting it, she said. Inside the bounty ship, a second voice came on the comms. This is not over, human. She belongs to the House of Chains. There's a price on her head across 5 star systems. John replied coldly, then tell them she's not for sale. He cut the signal. The ship floated in silence. Damaged but alive. John leaned back in the seat, breathing hard. Nara walked in, her face calm, too calm. That was no ordinary bounty team, she said. Nope, John replied. They came for you. She looked away. You should have given me to them. John stood. Are you serious? They would have left you alive. Maybe, but I wouldn't have wanted to live after that. Nara looked confused. Why? You don't even know me. John paused. Then he said, You're not a thing to give away. Later that night, Nara sat alone in the engine room. She stared at her reflection in the metal wall. Her hands still shook. A little. John walked in, holding a cloth and some water. You're bleeding, he said. She looked at her arm. Cut from battle. She hadn't noticed. John knelt down and cleaned the wound. You keep doing that, she said. What? Helping me, I told you, he said. You're not a slave. Not to me. She stared at him. Then what am I? He looked at her. You're my crew now. Nara laughed. Just once. It was small. But it was real. No one ever called me that, she said. First time for everything. She stood up. Crew, huh? Then maybe it's time I helped fix this ship. Together, they worked in silence, fixing broken wires, sealing cracks, replacing power lines. They were partners now, not just by chance, but by choice. But far away, on a dark world lit by red moons, a masked figure watched a screen showing Nara's face. She is alive. A voice behind him replied, Should we send more hunters? The figure nodded. Double quotes, double the price. And bring her back alive. John was dying. He didn't know how long he'd been lying there, bleeding, broken, half buried under wreckage. Smoke filled his lungs. Metal groaned around him. Something had hit the ship, hard. They had crashed, his last memory before blacking. Out was Nara screaming his name. Hours earlier, the sky had been clear. They were flying low over a jungle planet, searching for parts, maybe fuel. It looked empty, safe. It wasn't. A plasma mine exploded from below. The ship spun out of control, smashed through trees, and slammed into the dirt with a deafening crash. Then, darkness. Now, John lay still, cold, barely breathing, but Nara didn't stop moving. She was hurt too, her shoulder dislocated, her leg bleeding, but she didn't care. She dug through the wreckage with her bare hands. Metal cut her fingers. Smoke burned her eyes. She found him under a collapsed beam, chest barely rising. John, she whispered. Don't you dare die. She pulled the beam off with a cry of pain. Her arms trembled, but she didn't stop. She dragged his body out and laid him in a patch of green moss. He wasn't waking up. She checked his pulse. Slow, weak. She looked up at the ruined sky. They were alone. No help was coming. Inside the wrecked ship, fire spread across the control room. Sparks danced on the walls. The emergency system was fried. The med kit was destroyed. Nara didn't panic. She got to work. She tore cloth from the seats to make bandages. She mixed tree sap and moss to stop the bleeding. She remembered something John once said while fixing a wire. Sometimes, you don't need the right tools. You just need to try. So she tried. Night fell. The jungle came alive with sounds, strange birds, growling beasts, glowing insects. Nara stayed close, holding a stolen blaster and a sharp stick. She didn't sleep. She barely blinked. John groaned once in the night. She crawled to him, held his hand. "I'm here," she whispered. "Don't leave me, stupid human." At sunrise, his eyes opened, just a little. He looked at her, confused. "Where?" "We crashed," she said softly. "You hit your head. You stayed?" She smiled, "Just barely." "Of course I stayed. You're my crew, remember?" John chuckled weakly. "You fixed me?" "Don't sound so surprised." "I'm not," he said. "I'm just glad you're here." 2 days passed before the ship could fly again. Nara worked nonstop. She carried John inside and strapped him to the bed. She climbed into the pilot seat for the first time. The engines groaned. "Then came alive." She whispered. "Hold on, John." The ship rose into the sky like a phoenix from the ashes. Back in space. Safe again. John was still weak but healing. He sat in the med chair as Nara brought him tea. "This time," she said, "you're the one drinking soup and resting." John sipped the tea. "How'd you know what to do down there?" She shrugged. "I watched you. Learned. I guess I'm a fast learner." "You saved my life," he said. She looked at him. "You saved mine first." There was silence between them, soft, warm. Then she asked, "When this is over, will you leave me?" John shook his head. "Not unless you ask me to." Her eyes glowed, but not with anger. This time, they glowed with something gentler. Something new. Far away, in a hidden star system, bounty ships gathered. One hunter said, "She should have died in that crash." The leader looked at the screen. "No. She survived, and now she's dangerous." Asterisk, the door opened by itself. It was ancient, rusted, hidden behind vines and rocks on a forgotten moon. John and Nara hadn't come looking for secrets. They were just searching for supplies. But Nara stopped walking when she saw the old metal door half buried in the ground. She stared at it. Not with curiosity. With fear. "Nara?" John asked. "You okay?" She didn't speak. She stepped forward, slowly, like the air had turned heavy. "I've been here before," she said. John raised an eyebrow. "You sure?" She nodded. "This place knew me before I knew myself." The inside was cold. Dead machines lined the walls, empty tanks, broken lights. The air smelled like dust and old memories. Nara walked ahead, her fingers brushing the walls like they were pages in a book. She forgot she read. They reached a room at the center. A light flickered on. A voice, robotic, female, echoed from an old speaker. "Subject 9X7, welcome back." Nara's knees buckled. She dropped to the floor, eyes wide. John rushed to her. "What is this place?" She looked up at him. "It's the lab where I was made." The computer spoke again. "File request confirmed. Playing memory record." A screen lit up. John watched as images filled the room. A young girl, Nara, floating inside a tank, wires in her back. Cold eyes watching her. Scientists, not human. Aliens in white armor. "She is perfect," one said. "Obedient, strong, empty." The screen showed training rooms, combat drills, pain machines, tests, punishment. "She is not born," another said. "She is built." John's heart sank. He turned to Nara, but she didn't cry. She stood and stared. "I wasn't captured," she said. "I wasn't sold. I was created." She walked to a panel and touched it. Subject, name, N.A. Species, Ikari hybrid. Memory suppression, active. Loyalty chip, failed. Nara laughed bitterly. "Failed. That's why they threw me away. I was broken." "You weren't broken," John said. "You were too strong to control." She turned to him. "Then why do I feel like I don't belong anywhere?" John stepped closer. "Because they tried to erase who you were. But they failed. You're not their weapon. You're Nara. Suddenly, alarms blared. The old system had sent a signal. A bounty ship above had picked it up. She's here, the bounty captain growled. Prepare the cage. Back inside the lab, lights began to shut off. Nara moved fast. We need to go, now. John grabbed a file chip from the console. This might tell us how to stop them. They ran, but just before leaving, Nara looked back one last time. Her voice was quiet. Goodbye, ghost of me. Back on the ship, they flew through asteroid fields, dodging enemy fire. John looked at the chip. This says there are others like you. Nara nodded. Weapons, hybrids, lost and scattered. You want to find them? She didn't hesitate. I want to free them. He smiled. Then I'm with you. In the shadows of deep space, the enemy wasn't silent anymore. A new bounty was issued. Warning, the Ikari hybrid has remembered who she is. That makes her dangerous. It should have ended with a goodbye. But Nara didn't believe in endings anymore. The war was over. They had destroyed the last bounty ship, freed the other hybrids locked in cages, burned the lab that made her. No more chains. No more masters. Now. She stood in the loading bay of John's ship, looking at him like it was the first time and the last. I don't belong here anymore, she said softly. This ship, your world. I need to help my people rebuild. John nodded. You should. He handed her a small pack. I made you some tools, in case you need them. She took it, held it tight. Silence filled the room like thick smoke. Then she said, so this is goodbye? John forced a smile. You're free now, Nara. You can go anywhere. She stepped closer. But where will you go? She asked. He shrugged. Back. To my old roots. Maybe find a quiet planet and finally rest. She looked down, then said, I don't want to go anywhere without you. John blinked. What? She looked up, eyes fierce but soft. You didn't save me. You changed me. You helped me see I'm not a weapon. I'm not broken. I'm me. She stepped forward and touched his hand. I can lead my people. I can fight wars. But I don't want to live without you beside me. John's voice cracked. I thought you wanted freedom. I do, she said. But I also want you. Outside the ship, the other freed hybrids waited. Ships ready. New lives beginning. But Nara didn't move. Not until John said, then stay. No more orders, no more chains. Just stay because you want to. She smiled, and it was real. I'm not going anywhere, John Carter. Days later, their ship floated through quiet space. Nara stood beside John at the control panel. No one's chasing us, he said. Strange, she replied. I miss the running. They both laughed. She walked to the window and stared out at the stars. This is the first time I've ever been free, she said. John walked up beside her. What do you want to do now? She turned to him. Live. *A. Small child's laugh echoes from another room. Hybrid and human. John and Nara exchange a look. Their story didn't end with escape. It began with a mistake, turned into a bond, and grew into a life neither of them expected.